Hey guys, Dr. Dex here. Welcome to another episode of the Dr. Dex podcast. I am accompanied by DJ Studio Man. He's the producer of this show. So Calvin, thank you so much for being here.
It's my job.
It's his job. Today we have a very special guest, friend of mine out of Florida. His name is Travis Collins, but you might know him as Tools by Design on the internet. Travis, you are a dynamo, a powerhouse in the tool community. And why don't you give us a quick rundown of who you are, what you're up to right now, current events, that kind of thing. Let our listeners hear a little bit of coming from you.
A quick rundown? Oh my goodness. Well, I'm Travis. I've been posting on Instagram for 9 years or so now, and built up that audience and following of just going into the deep details and trying to be as real and authentic as possible. And currently I'm sitting in a remodel project I'm working on that's part of my 1944 home. And ongoing projects include goat house build. I'm closing in my dream garage shop. It is spring hitting here in Florida, so there's a lot of, let's say, land maintenance that needs to be done before we get into full weather. And then we've also got the house next door that's a full brick 1944 house that's finishing up getting a full gut remodel.
Wow. Are you doing all the remodels yourself?
Pretty much. So it's me. I hire in some of the external guys that have the skills that I was never taught or just outside of my spectrum, such as plumbing, electrical, and tile.
Those are kind of good things to have somebody else that's a professional that's licensed to do anyways. Like, I put in some bar sinks and things in my house, but if I had an issue with plumbing, it's not something I can fix toilet parts and stuff like that. But, if it's major, I usually call in a pro.
Absolutely. So.
Yeah, it's just better to have those people in when you need to. So, here at the Dr. Dex podcast, we like to kind of hit the rewind button a little bit because we want to get to know you from childhood up and kind of get a timeline going on of all that. There's so much I have to ask you, but some of it's selfish because when I met Travis face to face, I was following him online since early because you only had maybe 16,000 followers when might have been less than that.
Yeah, I really don't know because I never paid attention to it. I just know when I hit around the 10K mark is when companies started like, hey, maybe we should get some tools in your hands.
Yeah, man. I mean, I wish that more companies would have done that with me. I've basically had to reach out to everybody myself, but you came off as a tool reviewer. That's where your page started, and it looks like it's kind of morphing a little bit right now, but you were like hardcore, just like there was a few guys on the internet that I was following. You came in, I was watching Toolaholic, I was watching Tool Pig, and a couple other guys, but those were the main three. And I'm not going to slam these guys, but I was at a trade show and all three of you guys were there, but you were the only one that took the time to come say hi or talk to me, or everybody was busy, and I get it. I totally get it. But I just thought that was so cool that I was flying a drone inside the building, which I wasn't supposed to be doing. I was trying to catch some footage for Regal Ideas. And then here you come walking up. I'm like, hey, man, what's up? And it was just so cool to see where you've been and how quickly and massively you've grown your audience, which, I mean, I just have question marks because I just don't know how it's even possible, but I really admire your hustle. I think some of it had to do with your Friday segment of your personality that changed. And it's funny, Travis, because when that started getting really popular, people started sending me your videos. And I'm like, yeah, I know this guy. I know who this is. Oh, okay, cool. I said, yeah, I see all of them. Like, I follow and I know him personally. And it's funny because when somebody thinks that, so Jason might appreciate this, and then they send me your video, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know this guy. I've already seen it, and I'm sure you get that too. Sometimes when it's deck related, I get 400 people send me the same video.
Oh yeah, I get sent lots of clips, especially for the Friday segment.
Sure. So we'll get into all that. So
Yeah.
where are you currently located?
I'm in Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay. So are you near Hollywood Decks?
Actually, yes. Hollywood
Yeah.
Next and Built by Nate, and we're all in the same city spectrum, so we're all within like 20, 30 minutes of each other.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, Tony, he's been on. I haven't had Nate on. I have to reach out to him. I'm getting to know him a little bit better finally. So I think at the last actually we were at the Sashko booth with you guys and he walked up and I
Yeah.
had a chance to chat with him. Nice guy. Really nice
Oh,
guy.
Nate is awesome. He's a very genuine, just great guy, great energy.
Right on. So, where did you grow up?
I grew up in upstate New York, around the like Norwich, Sherburne, New York area. It's in the middle of nowhere, like
Okay.
one blinky light in the town I grew up in.
So, a real small town and did you do grade school there?
Uh,
Where-
like kind of. I went through elementary and then middle school in Norwich, New York, before my mom and stepdad took a job opportunity here in Jacksonville, Florida, to move in their industry.
Okay. All right. And then where did you end up moving to from there?
Ended up moving to just here in Jacksonville, Florida, not too far
Okay.
from where I live now. So my family still lives in the area they bought when we moved down here. I don't
Okay.
know, 20 plus years ago now. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, yeah. And how old are you currently?
I am 41, about to be 42 in March.
Cool. Okay, so that's our timeline then. So you so in grade school let's go. Okay, so middle school. How did the educational system break down? Was it like first through sixth or first through fifth or?
I feel like it was like first through fifth. And I will say one of the biggest things I remember about my schooling was how awesome it was growing up. We had a class that everyone took, and it was like, bring your bike to school. And doesn't matter if it's a brand new bike from Walmart, because Walmart was newer and cutting edge at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And small towns getting a big store like that is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And what they did is everyone brought a bike in and we took it apart. We cleaned all the parts. We re-lubricated, and we had a teacher teach us that. And that was like a regular class. And that was like really cool to
Oh,
see.
cool.
And
In grade school, you did this.
yeah, well, that was like the first year of middle school.
Okay, all right. So it's like sixth grade, right? So that's I mean, depending on where you grow up in the country, like I grew up with the first through sixth, and then seventh, eighth, and ninth, and then 10th, 11th, and 12th. That's how
Okay.
we broke down our school system. But I think that's even changed since I was in school.
Yeah.
But so that's a really cool thing. See, I'm really bummed that they've taken shop class like out of high school.
Oh yeah. So,
Wood shop. I was really good at wood shop. And then some of the other trades, I wish I would have took more metal shop, and they had a stained glass class, took auto mechanics, which was cool. But so is that something you excelled at when you got a chance to take that bicycle apart? Was that something that you were all in on?
Throughout my entire life, anything that is like touch with your hands and I've always excelled at. Just the peaking of the mind or that. But I mean, I grew up, my dad was a carpenter, but more of a finished carpenter, but overall remodel guy, but he was very detail oriented. And my grandpa was a carpenter, and my great great grandpa that came over from the UK, I think of all places, was a post frame builder. So
Oh,
it's interesting how you learn more about history, and
yeah,
certain genetic things tend to get passed down of where your skills lie.
100%. I believe in that.
Yeah.
I think I inherited some skills from my dad. Okay, so by this time, so you're in middle school. Are you into sports? Are you into academics, or what's your thing?
Yeah, I mean, undiagnosed ADHD type of thing, but I was always really quick to learn
Mm-hmm.
and just remembered everything, and I still do. And I was always good at just sports in general, was pretty good at, but I've always been a really tiny guy, really skinny. So I
Mm-hmm.
played sports in middle school and high school, but high school I kind of stopped playing sports because I started working a lot more, and it was more important to make money to buy that first car than it was to do all the sports after school.
Sure. So, when like your middle school years, what were your grades like?
Almost all straight A's.
Okay. Because you come across as a really smart individual. You always have the way that you carry yourself, the way you talk. You pick up on those things, and I go, this guy was probably really smart in school.
I think
And
I was the stealthy smart guy. I in high school I
hey,
had a lot of friends, and I bounced around. I goofed off a lot. I
hmm
was
hmm
just funny, but also I was took certain things serious. And yeah, at the end of high school, everyone was surprised when I was of the higher ranking in my GPA than people thought I was.
well, that's really cool that you could put less effort into your studies and still perform exceptional.
Yeah, it's
I always admired those
always
people. It's
good.
like, how'd you pull an A in that test, man? I got a C minus.
It's wild, like looking back and not thinking about ADHD or what I know now as you've gotten older. But I started not sitting in the middle or the back of the class, sitting in the front two rows, because otherwise I wouldn't pay attention or learn it. And I hated having to spend time outside of classroom studying or reading. I got other stuff to do. So
Sure.
I sat up front in all the classes, and I just remember everything. So
Wow, smart. And Collins, that's C. If they ever put you in alphabetical order, you'd be right up near the front,
yeah.
anyways. So I'm a Russell, so I was always in the back of the class, and
hmm
that suited me really good because I enjoyed just goofing off and looking up
Oh,
at the.
man, you just made me. I hadn't thought about seat placement based on alphabetical order in forever, how it used to be that way. Oh, my goodness.
I know. People are gonna hear this and go, "What is he talking about, man?" So
Back when chalkboards were a thing.
back in the old ages when I was in school, I graduated in 1987, so that dates me a little bit. But yeah, they used to put us like in seventh grade. Man, I was in alphabetical order until the teacher got so upset with me for being disruptive that he moved me to the very front, right in front of his desk. That straightened me out a little bit.
Yeah. I got in
You know?
trouble a lot for being disruptive. I'll say
Yeah,
that. So, yeah.
cool.
An interesting thing, before I was moved to Florida in middle school, I was very disruptive. My teacher put in a special request, and I had my own desk in the principal's office, sitting facing the principal, where all the teachers would send their work to. And yeah, looking back, that's not normal. And
No.
just the fact that the teachers and the principal agreed to that and realized like how much potential they saw, and they were
Well,
willing to invest that extra effort, and that's pretty wild.
wow.
Yeah.
That's actually a compliment
Yeah.
when they say this kid's got potential, man. He just can't orchestrate it yet, but
Yeah.
once he does, look out. Look at you now.
Yeah.
Look at you now. All right, so we're in high school, and where, like you said, you decided you wanted a job because you wanted a car.
Yeah. Yeah. My parents had
So,
always said, I've got to buy my own car. They're not going to give me any money or any car. And I was never really allowed to drive my parents' vehicles. I mean, my parents have been separated since I was 5 or so. So I've got
mhm.
my dad and then my mom and my stepdad. And my dad moved to Florida soon after we did, to be near my brother and I. And
Oh,
so I worked with him, although he lived 2, 3 miles down the road, type of thing. And my
cool.
family was still pretty close and amicable. So,
So your dad was a Finnish carpenter,
yep.
and so that's what you were doing as well.
Yeah. So that's
So
what
was that your first exposure to like fine woodworking and things like that?
um, I wouldn't say that was my first exposure. I mean, we did a lot of trim carpentry growing up, but I didn't really dive into the trim carpentry side with him until high school. And
Mhm.
at that time, in ninth grade, was high school starting at Mandarin High School in Jacksonville. And we had a phenomenal woodshop teacher who saw potential, and I took 5 years of woodshop and 4 years of high
Oh,
school. I got
dude.
special requests to take every elective my last 2 years of just woodshop, and built
Really?
some crazy things. And the teacher helped me almost teach the class the last year. So that was
Do,
really awesome.
do you have anything left from those years?
I've got the
Yes.
right behind the camera is my first tea table I built, which everybody the first year builds this three-legged tea table because he said it utilizes every piece of equipment in the shop, the lathe, a rasp, because you hand file the feet and all these things, and you have the option of building a drawer, and you do some veneer work. And he had a whole thing set
Oh.
aside, and he was phenomenal, Mr. Performance.
Ah,
So
man, I just wish they would consider bringing some of this stuff back.
yeah, yeah,
You know?
it was pretty
Um,
special. My favorite time of the day, all the time. So.
No, I had a favorite item that I made. I don't have it. It got confiscated. It was the coolest beer stein ever, and it held 80 ounces of beer.
Wow.
Yeah, and I made it, and it was a reverse lathe where you actually put a spindle on the lathe,
Yeah.
and then you honed it because you made this thing
Yeah.
in all these like 10-degree cuts, and then you turned it on the lathe and made it round on the outside, and then I turned it on the lathe and made it round on the inside, and then I epoxied the bottom, and I put a quarter in the bottom, and the whole goal was to find the quarter, when you had it
Okay.
full of beer. So,
Yeah.
but I was at this hall party, and it got raided by the cops, and they confiscated it.
Yeah, we never got to make anything like that. The second year of woodshop is when you could kind of choose your project, because at that point you did the first year thing, and he knows and he can tell who's got some talent or skill in that. And so I picked this elaborate, ornate thing that I spent the next 2.5
Wow.
years building in woodshop, and I took first place in
Oh,
Jacksonville.
congratulations, man.
And then the last year I built some nightstand that was a Henradon kind of copy, and yeah, so
Dude,
it was really enjoyed it, and then I
you were
went.
really into it, man. That's
And it was,
awesome.
I mean, I worked marine construction on the side during the
Okay.
weekend, building docks and bulkheads with a family friends company. And then
Mhm.
I worked with my dad doing carpentry. I also worked at a bar doing bar back and things of that nature in the evenings, because I was trying to make the money to buy the car I wanted.
Now, what
And
was the car that you wanted? What was so special about this vehicle?
um, I had determined I wanted a 1969 Mustang GT. And
Oh, wow.
it
Okay.
was very much just kind of the body style I loved. My dad had a 70 Chevelle SS 454, so I
Hmm.
grew up around that. Of course, my mom said, no, you're not going to get that because you're going to spend all your money working on it and fixing it, and you need to get something more modern and safer. So I got
Hmm.
a 94 Mustang GT and spent a bunch of money working on that.
Okay. Well, I think that classic car, my brother had a 67 for a while, and it was a cool car. His was inline six, so it was kind of gutless. But
Yeah.
then I had the opportunity to get a 70 fastback. It was that really ugly green, like pea green color, and I just wasn't into it. And I really wish I would have took my stepfather up on that option when I was growing up. I ended up with a Volkswagen Rabbit.
Oh, okay. That's
Instead,
very
it's
different.
way different car. That poor car, it was always in the repair shop, man. I was relentless on that thing.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I've got my dad's 70 Chevelle 454 here at the garage. I inherited it
oh
when he
wow,
passed on, so
oh
it's
cool,
gonna be part of the channel here in the next year or two to restore it and get it back going.
cool. So you had all these side gigs. The dock thing's kind of cool because that kind of relates back to this whole podcast and what it's called. How long did you do that for?
Wow, almost probably 6-7 years. I worked a good amount of hours with the family that owned the marine construction company, and I will say that was probably the dirtiest, hardest work I've ever done, is digging out in the mud bulkheads to tear out and rebuild. And the crew there, of all the construction crews I've worked with, were by far the crudest. And if anything, they taught you, like, yeah, in high school, working after school and that, like, yeah, I don't think I want to do this after
Hmm.
school.
Well, it's good that you figured that out at a young age, right?
Yeah. I mean, I still worked hard with friends, so we had a couple friends as well that worked part time, and so you're kind of hanging out with your buddies, but you're also busting hump and you're making some cash, and it was good all around.
Cool. So you graduate high school. Did you graduate?
Yeah, yeah, I
Okay. Yeah,
graduated.
straight A's. I assume you probably did pretty easily.
Yeah, there was like 560 in my graduating class.
That's a good
Um,
size.
yeah, it's like I think each grade had about 1,000 starting in our school. It was a big
Wow.
school.
That's a big
And
school.
I graduated. I think I was seventh or eighth in the class when I graduated.
Really?
So I got a partial scholarship and chose to go to the Florida State University in Tallahassee, Florida.
Excellent. That was my next question. So,
Yeah.
did you do the SATs? Obviously, you must have to get
Oh
into
yeah, I
college.
did the SATs and all the testing, trying
How
to
did
get
you how did
full
you
scholarships.
score?
I don't even remember it. It
Oh, okay.
wasn't as as high as I was hoping. I think I took it 3 or 4 times trying to get to a certain number to get a higher scholarship. And I ended up with a 75% scholarship.
Oh, nice. Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Florida's got good scholarship programs, or at least
Man,
they
I
did at the
guess.
time for
Yeah.
state.
What year did you graduate?
2003.
2003. Okay. All right. Timelines are cool. I just like them for my own personal reasons, but I hope others do as well. Leave a comment below, guys, if that's something that you want to continue
Yeah, I think
pursuing.
timelines are great. So.
Yeah, I do too, man. Is there anything in high school that we're missing, or are we pretty much cool? Okay.
Yeah, just the lots of work and lots of wood shop.
All right. So were you like a minimum wage employee, or were you getting extra funding like in high school? Just your standard pay?
My dad was paying me cash under the table.
Excellent.
Just because, but he had also trained me to where he can drop me off at a job site. And at that point, we were doing $1 million homes, fine trim work and things. And I was doing things that he couldn't hire others to do. And our communication was great. So he was paying me, I think, $20 an hour.
Wow.
At the regular full-time rate for somebody at the end of high school. And then marine construction, I was working, I think I was probably making $17 or $18 an hour there. And then of course, when you're doing bar backing or restaurant work, you get tips involved. So I was doing really well there as well. So
nice.
I made good money. I will say that. And
good for you for your age. Absolutely.
Yeah. I was bust and hump. I did not party and hang out and do a lot of things others were doing because I was choosing to invest my time.
Well, it's smart. I think it's smart. Like you had a vision early,
where
a lot of people don't. So you take this scholarship and you go to college, and what was that like?
College was tough. It wasn't easy like high school. It took a lot more studying and work and a lot more internal learning who you are. So I was in a little bit of a depression there to begin with, but I also immediately I took an elective that was the FSU Master Craftsman Studios. And it was a third party, but to the FSU. Think of it as if you're on campus and you're going to need benches built out of concrete, or to this, they're going to get bids from outside contractors, and they get a bid from Master Craftsman Studios, which has classes being from the students. So you're getting students to build things, and the teachers there were from a part of the trades or sculpture art or that. And so there was a whole thing where they underbid all the outside contractors. So as students, we got to do all kinds of cool stuff. And so immediately in meeting them, they saw that I'm not somebody who doesn't really have any base knowledge. So I started teaching the woodshop class my freshman year of FSU. And then I taught woodshop to college students my sophomore year as well there. But we melted down iron. I helped build the Bobby Bowden stained glass window in the FSU stadium. I did a bunch of things around campus that I can walk around and be like, well, I helped work on that. I helped do that. And it was a really awesome program.
That is so cool. So did you participate in that program more than the first 2 years of college, or did you?
Mainly first 2 years, because those were kind of electives. And then I narrowed down my major, which was property management and development. Was going to be for like apartment complexes and things of that nature. But also at the same time, after my freshman year of college, I didn't have a place to live, and I had damaged my Mustang driving it not adult-like, and bent some suspension components up front. So I found a local speed shop and asked if they could teach me or show me how to repair it, because I don't have the funds. And they said, well, can you sweep and help with oil changes? And we'll show you. And that relationship began in my sophomore year of college. I moved into this old building and had a 20 by 20 room, and I put a kitchen in, tile, carpet, and it became my efficiency apartment that was like $200 a month. So I lived in this automotive shop that was a speed shop, restoring classic cars, but doing regular maintenance, doing like roll cage welding work, all kinds of stuff. So I kind of lived there, and my mentor, who was quite a bit older than me at the time, he was like 50, 55, and I was 20, 21. And so I lived there probably 4 or 5 years and throughout college. And it was wild.
That's really cool. So your car was damaged.
Yeah.
You took this job. You started doing the odd jobs, but you're also learning another set of skills while you're there.
Yep.
And then they taught you how to fix your car,
Oh yeah, and a lot
and you
more.
got it and a lot more, and how to make it faster. I'm sure.
Oh, I mean that was just part of it. We're
Of
speed
course.
tuning cars and that, but I will say the first thing the guy that ran the business and his brother-in-law was the main mechanic there. They had me buy a 1986 Toyota pickup truck with a blown motor and $500, and then we tore it apart. I custom gapped the piston rings. They showed me how to rebuild an engine. They said, if you can do this engine, it's a very reliable good, then you'll be able to do any engine. So we went through the whole thing together. And then from there on, I knew their process. And so we worked hand in hand together to rebuild all these other cars and do things. And I only need to be shown something one time, and
Once.
then I know it and it's clear, it's set. And so it was just constant learning and building. And before I know it, I'm welding up roll cages or tuning lifters on a 70s performance car, whatever we're doing. So
When you're tuning the lifters, did you guys have a set of cutaway valve covers to do that type of work, or did you just let the oil spurt out everywhere?
they were old school, so we just covered everything, and and we had our little feeler gauges and the
Mm-hmm.
wrenches. We did so we made a little bit of a mess, but we tried to, of course, keep it in line.
A lot of people won't know what I'm talking about, but I actually pulled the motor out of my boat once, and we put a Pro Charger on it, and I had to tune it. And I had a speed shop do the heads on it, and we tuned it for a turbo, right?
Yeah.
For the extra horsepower, and I never thought I would do something like that, but to be able to dial in your valves and listen to it while it's on, and just take away the knocks and the pings and things like that by just adjusting the springs. It's kind of a fun, interesting thing to do.
Yeah.
Everybody should have that opportunity in their lifetime to do
Yeah,
something.
I will say I was always blown away by the mechanic, Mark Hunt, that taught me. He could hear things and just know exactly what was off or what was needed. Cars pulling up, immediately had a diagnosis, or just like he was just that good
Yeah,
at
that good. Your rings are shot.
it. Yep. But he was also incredibly nice because I didn't have any tools when I started there, and he had this giant Snap-on toolbox with
Oh,
tons, and every drawer's full. And he said he probably had 80, 90K.
yeah, 100 grand. Yeah.
Every drawer's perfectly organized. But since he taught me from the beginning, he let me use his, and so throughout my entire almost 10 years working with him at this shop, I just used his tools and made sure to put them back where they
Wow.
belonged, and that so we shared.
Wow. Because I tell you what, Snap-on, they really do have something special. I'm sure you've talked to them many times, but dude, that brand, because when I did my boat, I had a set of Craftsman, but I actually scored a full Snap-on lowercase full of tools for like 3,500 cash. This kid, his family, he was not Russian, but Ukrainian. And his family wanted him to go into the automotive shop. So he went into this automotive school and had to buy all this stuff. And he had his initials engraved on every piece. And then he decided he wanted to be an attorney. He didn't want to be a mechanic. And so he sold it. And I was the first one to show up with cash. And he goes, if you don't want this, I got 10 other guys. I go, it's got your initials. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I went and bought it. But then I used it, and I used it, and I used it. And I'm like, man, this stuff is like butter.
Yeah.
So, in your opinion, what's your favorite hand tool brand to use?
I don't own any Snap-on anymore or Mac tools and that because I never owned all my own tools. So anymore, it's been kind of just testing. I will say the Craftsman V series that they recently came out with the Craftsman rebrand was really good, but it's Stanley Black & Decker, which is also Proto, and I believe it's Mac Tools. So it's the same kind of wrenches that were under that really premium brand, but brought down. And since then, I think Craftsman V series was discontinued a year or so ago anymore. They probably weren't making the profit margin they wanted, but they were really nice stuff.
Interesting. I was walking through Harbor Freight not too long ago, and they have a higher end set of hand tools as well.
Yeah,
They look good. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. But I'll be honest, like once you kind of get used to that type of tool and you use it multiple times over and over and over, you're like, I really like these. These are nice. and it really did make the whole experience better.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
you
So the
know,
right tool for certain
mhm,
jobs will just change your way of looking at things.
yeah. Okay, so you're in this. So is when you're working at the speed shop, are you doing side hustle as well, or
So I wasn't really doing much carpentry work at that time, but anytime you're not in school for vacation, I'd come home and work with my dad and jump right back in it and do that with him. So you just never know what jobs we were tackling when I was on vacation. And then after I graduated from college, all your friends leave, of course. I'm the guy at the speed shop working, and I'm like, well, the 2008, I think it was, when I officially graduated, and the economy had collapsed, and
okay?
my degree was worthless because it was in property management, but I had no experience, and guys with 10 years of experience couldn't get work because of the economy. So I stayed at the speed shop and became a manager. And another race guy opened up a $2 million building that was a custom race shop. I installed 20 4-post lifts. We did custom tuning, full epoxy floors, a whole glass front. So I helped him build that out and became the manager there, and
Oh,
did that for 5 or so years. And so in the time, like when your friends leave, I ended up being kind of property management for some of their houses that their parents bought them or they owned when they bought. So I took care of and fixed things, clean out the dead animal underneath the porch, or fix this leak, replace this broken window, that kind of thing. So I did that on the side, but was really heavily invested in the automotive side of things and the work we were doing.
so by the end of your tenure at the second speed shop, you've got
Yeah.
about 10 years wrapped up
Yeah.
into high performance vehicles.
Yeah, high performance as well as regular maintenance, because regular maintenance was kind of our bread and butter. We never
Sure.
advertised, but you get a lot of people in word of mouth. So we did a lot of the regular stuff, and then we had people shipping us cars up and down the East Coast to do custom exhaust systems, to do tunes. And one of the guys we had working with us at the speed shop, Troy Freilich. Very eccentric, very smart, very hard to manage. As a 25-year-old trying to manage a 50-year-old guy who's already owned two of his own shops, and Brumo sends him vehicles to tune, type of thing. He's an oddball. So I'm learning from these guys that are twice my age and trying to just it was difficult. It taught me a lot, but at the same time, I got to help them and learn a lot from them. So it was really awesome. But we would drive I-10 through Tallahassee or around, and 100 plus miles an hour. He's like, okay, I need you to do at least about a 40% throttle pull so I can adjust the fuel to air ratio for this, because he's going to be using it for this. And after we
Hmm.
built stuff, and so we got pulled over a lot from the police and things, and we always had him come by the shop and check out what we were working on and that.
Oh,
So
cool.
we had a good relationship. So
Sure, no kidding. Yeah. So did you guys sell like race fuel there
no,
and
no race
no?
fuel. We didn't sell anything but our repair, tuning, build skills.
Okay. All right. So you weren't like a bolt-on horsepower kind of
No,
place.
yeah, we didn't sell anything there. We didn't keep any stock of really
Okay.
anything. If someone wanted something done, they could bring it to us. We could order it for them, but of course,
Hmm.
there's that upcharge
Sure.
because you gotta make your percentage.
But you're putting the science. Like if somebody built a car
Yeah.
and it's not dialed in and it's sputtering and spitting and stuff like that, you're the guys that could get it purring
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
kitten.
We were the shop everyone sent all the shit they couldn't figure out, or the things that they were struggling with too, because
Hmm.
we could fix it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. All right. So after this 5 years at this deluxe speed shop, then what do you decide to do?
Yeah. At some point, a former FSU football player came in and bought the speed shop and kind of turned it into his own personal garage. And it yeah, it wasn't fun anymore. And I was already at the management level. I don't get any paid time off. And it was like, well, I'm almost 30. What am I going to do from here? I don't want to just be stuck there. So I kind of decided to exit that industry and get out of Tallahassee. And I moved back to Jacksonville, Florida, because that's where my family was and a lot of friends. And it felt safe, I think, was the biggest thing looking at on it. And I could kind of figuring out if I want to go back into carpentry full time or what I wanted to do. And I ended up doing carpentry full time for myself and getting small jobs. And then I took an office job at a finance company because I had a 4-year degree I wasn't using. A friend recommended. I was like, well, maybe I should do something with the 4.5 years I spent there. And so that's when a lot of people remember I was working. When I first started social, I was doing carpentry. And then all of a sudden I was in the office 5 days a week for a little bit. And that's when I started restoring the old house I lived in with my ex, and kind of took the Tools by Design before it was Tools by Design and kind of grew it.
Okay. Yeah, this is an interesting time because I was at dinner with you once, and I remember you telling me about your finance background, but I was wondering when that was gonna hit in this interview.
Yeah,
because so far all I've heard is college, tools, woodworking, and speed shop. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I was about to say, don't you have some kind of a finance background too?
Yeah, I couldn't believe they even hired me. I've got zero experience, but it's wild. They didn't care about any experience. They just cared you had a 4-year degree, that you could have made that sacrifice and got that. And it's because they trained me, they paid me to take the testing and get everything in that. So I did their testing. I had to go back into reading books and this and that, and made it happen because I was like, all right, I need to do this. This is what my mom, my dad, everyone's telling you to do. Don't work with your hands. Get an office job with benefits and all this and that. And I did that for 5 years, and it wasn't for me, but I suffered through it.
What was your okay? And so you're between 30 and 35 years old when in this window of your life.
Yeah.
Okay, and explain to me, what was it that you did? Like once you were trained and once you were brought up to speed, what was your duties there? What did you do?
My main shift schedule I ended up with was 4 10-hour days. So I took phone calls for 10 hours a day. I was basically a concierge for people that wanted to come in and move money in their accounts. Maybe they wanted to place a trade, but they didn't feel comfortable on the website. So I could talk them through it, or I could help them place it over the phone. And I can't sign into my account. Can you help me reset my password? This and that. Like, just, it was that kind of thing. So it wasn't, to me, it wasn't super fulfilling, but it was very easy because a lot of it was mundane work, simple work. Although a lot of people don't treat you very nice on there when things aren't working.
Yeah, of course. They're freaking out because they can't access their money. Yeah, that's, poor Travis. You got to be part mental counselor there when you're doing that kind of stuff.
But at the same time is when I'm cross-posting and doing things in the middle of my day or this and that for Tools by Design, and where I was going at home and working on this house and remodeling it throughout and sharing everything through Instagram pictures. So
yeah, right. I know.
Just building it up. Yeah.
Photographs. Yeah. Back then, that's all it was. There was no video allowed, man. That's crazy how that has evolved.
Oh yeah, I never used to do any video. I feel like it was probably 4 years before I was actually in a video or photos, because it was always my hands or just me, because that's what mattered, was sharing what's out in front of you. So
no, seriously, like it's just cool. So is that when you started your Instagram account? Was when you started doing the financial thing?
No, it was a little bit before that.
Before that?
When I started working on this house that I lived with my ex. I started sharing stuff there and that, and I was like, I need to, on my personal page, but I was like, this is just too much detail. I was kind of enjoying sharing my knowledge and information a little bit, and plus I was discovering guys like Kiefer, Toolkit, Kruger, and them, because they were way bigger.
Oh, I know.
They were showing things like, my dad never showed me how to do that. I didn't know that. What, a track saw? That looks awesome. And all these things I'm learning. And so I created my own page. And at that time, the page name I chose was Alur Design. It's a French word that means you can make something from nothing. And I thought it was clever and cool, but no one could pronounce it. And no one really knew what it was. So when I was around 10,000 followers and got there is when I changed it to Tools by Design.
That was a smart move.
Yeah, I think so. That's
one piece of advice I give everybody is, like, have an identifiable handle, or I'm never going to tag you or recognize you in anything. Because You know how this is. Like you're creating a piece of content or generating something for somebody, and you want to tag somebody, but if you can't identify them, then you have to save a draft, go back, try to find this person, figure out what their handle is. You're just not going to do that. Not
Yeah.
very often.
Yeah.
I don't have an eidetic memory like you do, so it's even worse for me trying to figure out who these people are. Even if you type in their name, sometimes that doesn't work.
Oh yeah, it's brutal.
So Tools by Design is really easy to remember, and it just is identifiable.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got to 10K, you changed the handle, you're now Tools by Design, and what at that point in time, what were you specializing in on your page?
Yeah, I feel it was. I don't know if I would say tool reviews per se, but I guess it kind of was. It was very in-depth sharing of tools because I took tools apart a lot at that point and showed how they
Yeah.
were built internally and how the solders or what electrical, and to show like this one's built much better than that one over there. And I think that's where I went with the Tools by Design, because I was
Yeah.
diving so deep, and I saw what other people were doing and they're showing how much it can drill or this. And I'm like, I don't want to do what everyone's doing, but
Right.
I'm also curious, like, well, how is this assembled? So I took stuff apart that was brand new, and I bought so much stuff of my own before I started getting anything sent to me. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just I think that was kind of like what set me apart was just, well, one, my energy and authenticity of just who I am, but the willingness to just take everything apart and break it down and show and explain. And yeah, I haven't taken apart a tool in a while now. I don't even think it's as enjoyable as it used to be for people.
Interesting. I did catch a couple of you breaking down the batteries.
Yeah.
And that was always interesting to me to see what the cells looked like inside of that plastic case.
Yeah, because that was at the beginning of that lithium ion like push right past XRP, when right after all had switched to 20 volt a little bit. So
Yeah. Did you ever take apart a power stack?
Power stack. I don't think I did, because I went to the DeWalt Power Stack launch event when they did
I was there with you.
and they had it apart there, so I didn't feel the need to take it apart at home because we had seen it there.
Yeah, you and Liv were on a mission, man. You guys were shooting everything. Like
I'm like that at every show. I know time's so limited, and like I get ideas and I don't know exactly what I'm going to do until I see things, see the lighting, the angles and that. And I'm like, okay, I gotta go. I'm running out of time.
Yeah. So I didn't get much time with you except at dinner. Like once we were away from the tools and there wasn't anything to shoot, but that was really cool to see your process and how you're working with. I kind of stood back a little bit. I didn't really film a whole lot at that event, but it was interesting to talk to I was talking to the president for a minute, and I asked him about lipo.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, when are you guys going to ever change over to lipo? And he says, I don't know if we ever will, but here, talk to this guy. And he puts a scientist in front of me, and so I asked him, I'm like, they're using it in drone technology quite heavily. I'm using it in my motorcycle because it's the only battery that'll start my motorcycle because of the compression ratio, right? So what's your thought on that? I heard there's an overheating issue mostly is one of the reasons why they won't get into lithium polymer.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't know. Like I think it's old technology now for things, for what you can draw out of it. But I remember when XRP got the lithium post batteries, they had a lipo version, so I believe. So maybe not. I can't remember, but it had charging issues in that. So I don't know. Like the power stack stuff seems awesome, but then they're not moving completely in that way.
They're not.
Tabless, and every company's going to this tabless because maybe it's the reliability with the current and amp draw that can be pulled out for that. So.
Yeah. I think guys they recharge once one bar comes off the indicator, they're throwing it back on the charger.
Possibly,
yeah. They're not letting the batteries get down to a low capacity. Everybody just keeps recharging at two bars, and I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's probably a bad thing. But, you don't want to run out of battery charge, obviously. But, I've got so many batteries that the only one brand I was really disappointed with so far has been Metabo HPT, because I've lost almost every single battery I've had with those guys.
Yeah. The first gen multivolt stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
had a lot of issues with them with me, and I don't use them nearly as hard as you do. And
Yeah.
I definitely have had a big I mean, them and the Milwaukee larger batteries just not wanting to recharge and then just ultimately failing. So,
Yeah. I don't use that brand. I've been really impressed with the 40-volt Makita stuff.
mhm.
I think it's solid. And, the power, or not the power stack. I've actually had some problems with the power stack 5 amp hour batteries, but all my 12 amp hour stuff from DeWalt has been Flex Volt, whatever. All that stuff's been pretty solid as well.
Yeah.
But, I guess it just depends. Do you have a particular brand of tool that you like?
I mean, I like a lot of different brands for different things, and that's where, like, trying to recommend stuff to people, but also be honest and you're gonna make money is like, I gotta ask questions like, "What's your main use for this? What are your goal? Are you gonna be using what's your expansion gonna be like?" Because that determines what brand you might end up in. And, um, like, favorite brand, I don't necessarily have a favorite, but some brands are better at some things than others. And like DeWalt's just always been really good at carpentry stuff, and a lot of
Hmm.
their tools are great at carpentry. Their 20 volt is very solid. They had some trouble with some of their flex volt batteries on the 12.0s and 9.0s initially, but they've seemed to all been resolved. And lately, the biggest brand that's really impressed me is Hilti with their Neuron 22 volt and their push into things that's not commercial. And it's that company itself is a phenomenal company.
Yeah. Always has been.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had some of the best drills known to mankind, you know?
Yep.
Okay, we're getting sidetracked here. Let's keep it on Travis.
Yeah.
So, but these are things I do want to talk about. So,
Absolutely.
if we don't catch it all in this episode, we'll catch it in the bonus episode for Patreon here. But, okay, so you leave the auto shop, the speed shop,
Yeah.
and then you're doing your social media and you're starting to get some traction there. Companies are starting to look at you. What do you do after that?
Yeah. That it's, I feel like I
Oh,
need
the
to,
financial thing.
yeah, that was always off to the side. I never shared any of that. It wasn't anything that was truly passionate. It was I need to do this. I need to
Mm-hmm.
do something here. And
Right.
ultimately, I figured out it wasn't for me, but the company and the job is good for a lot of people, just not for me. And at
But
that,
at least you used your degree
yeah, I
for
tried
5
it.
years.
Yeah.
Hey man,
I only stuck
props.
on for 5 because that means I got full vestment of my 401k because they did
Oh,
401k matching. So if I'd have left earlier, then I would have lost a large percentage of what they had contributed throughout my time there. And I'm like, at year 3.5, I'm like, this sucks. This is just not for me. But I'm like, 1.5 more years and this and that. And like, okay, let's just do it and see. And so you put your nose down and you just get stuff done that you don't want to do. And at the
right.
same time as when I'm working on this house and sharing, and my social media page is getting bigger, I'm getting more tools sent to me, but I'm not making any money because Instagram never paid and companies weren't paying, but they were willing to send endless free product because it's free marketing and exposure for them. They're
Right.
showing, they're getting views. And then I started making some brand deals where, not that I had to ever say a particular thing or do anything in specifics, but it was showcasing a new product or just making my video my way, and they would pay me some money. And so then I did a little here, a little there, and that. And then at the end of like year 4 in finance, what I was making a year there, say 60K or something like that, I made maybe 25K at the end of the year from doing brand deals for certain things. I'm like, oh, there's viability in this side of things of that. And as long as I don't have to ever say a particular thing and I can just be genuinely true, then this is awesome. And so I kind of cultivated that and grew it until around year 5 is when, like, okay, I'm almost making as much as I am in finance, and Instagram just happened to be paying some that year for like a bonus or something. So I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. The bonus is here now. We're going to keep making
Yeah.
for doing what I love to do and share and help people. And yeah, obviously things ebb and flow and go up and down.
Yeah.
That gave me the boost to leave the finance job and jump back into doing remodel carpentry work and showing the tools. And about that time, I think, is when I bought actually a little bit before that, I bought my own house here, which turned out to be a house I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. But it's been great for content and sharing what not to do.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then at this point, are you considering yourself a full-time content creator, or
Yeah,
are you
I think
okay?
so.
All right, cool.
That's when I left the finance job, and I
Mhm.
just, I tend to just see something and I see the potential, and I'm like, I'm just going to jump. If it
Mhm.
fails, I will go right back into working carpentry because it's something I enjoy and I've always got that skill. But let's see where this goes. Let's jump. And
Cool.
I'm still doing it full time here, creating content. It's morphed and shifted in this industry and space quite a bit over the last 4 or 5 years for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, but that is a very interesting, because I know some friends in my sector that have done the same thing.
Yeah.
One guy in particular, Wood Bully, he retired from building decks. He has a right-hand man, Chuck Nasty, that kind of does the work now, but I think he's full-time content creation.
Yeah. Okay. I follow him.
Yeah, focusing on he has a very large Facebook audience, though.
Okay.
Now Facebook has been paying. I've talked to a few guys in the industry, and they're like, "Yeah, dude, mine got hacked 2 years ago."
Yeah.
And so I had to start all over, and I've got like 7,000 followers on Facebook. But I guess Facebook, there's guys that were making $20K a month on Facebook.
I've heard that too, and apparently I was doing it wrong all along. So, because my main focus was just Instagram, because
Right.
that's where I started and where I was going,
Yep.
and
Yep.
this is it. So,
Yep.
and yeah, I should have
get it.
divested more sooner. But I mean, my Facebook I think has grown almost 800K now. But
Wow.
I'm not making the funds a lot of these other people are. But my content gets stolen a lot, and I get flagged quite a bit for non-original content when I'm in it and other people are using it and getting millions of views, and then you got to spend hours chasing it down, and it's a whole other side of things. And
Dusty Lumber Company, he has somebody that full time that just files. I don't know what you call it, but he's filing these
right, infringement stuff.
Yeah, infringement. Yeah. Yep.
It's a wild side of things that people don't realize. I mean, my buddy Murray, Kruger Construction,
Yep.
I mean, he's huge and he gets so many videos stolen. And at some point, unless you're paying someone and trying to go after this, like, you have to just mentally let it go, because
Yeah.
you're just chasing your tail around. So,
Yeah, he doesn't even talk on his videos anymore.
yeah.
You know, I guess it's that whole global reach thing, that the angle he must be going for. The funny thing is everything's in English, but it probably gets translated in all these different languages, you know.
Yeah, just auto translate on everything.
Yeah,
now.
yeah. So that was an interesting. I saw some other big influencers trying it, but a lot of them I've noticed have gone back to just talking.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Me personally, I do more of a time lapse audio music.
Yeah.
And I've gotten several cease and desists from Sony. And then I'm like, well, hey man, I chose this out of the Instagram library, so why are you ceasing and desisting me on it? Because you allowed me to choose this song.
Yeah. Isn't it wild? It happens to me all the time. Like,
yeah, man. But every time I it's been very few times that they've said no. Usually they'll reverse the,
yeah.
You know, they'll put the video back up, but sometimes they won't. I'm like, well, you suck for doing that.
Yeah, I've had a lot of videos just muted in general. I have to choose a new song. But it's funny when things get renewed with Meta, Instagram, or that. Like, it'll be videos from 2, 3, 4 years ago I had a song on, and then all of a sudden I got 20 notifications. Sound's been removed from all these. Go choose new ones because you're in violation now. I'm like, I guess some new deal was struck. And
yeah, that we don't know about. Yeah. Why don't you inform the users as well as everybody else? You know, come on.
You would hope so, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh well. Okay, so you leave the finance. How old are you? You're 35?
34, 35. Yeah, around 35. Yeah.
Okay. And then over the last 5 years. Okay, so and you're 41.
41 now. Yeah.
41. Okay, so then fill in the last 5 to 6 years. When did F It Friday come into play?
That was probably around that time, because this house that I'm in right now is such a nightmare that I started like, let me just showcase some of this terrible work, but also use tools the wrong way, but not necessarily dangerously, but smartly, and get silly with it. And so I
Hmm.
was destroying my own house. I remember like dating a couple people, and they're like, what is going on here? Because I'm just living in it, and it's just a nightmare. And people are loving it. And it's very different than the Pocket Fridays I do now. Featured unknown knowledge in tools. There's no curse words here. So, and so I started doing that. And then I started getting so many videos sent to me and seeing things. So I started editing them together and just doing a voiceover, and
Hmm.
people loved it, and just letting my creativity flow. But I try to do it on so many levels of things. I never expected it to take off. I wanted to make comedy for the tradesmen, for the guys that
Sure.
are in the trenches all the time. And it's
Hmm.
kind of struck a chord with everyone.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Travis, because sometimes you need to hear it, sometimes you don't. From an outside perspective, right?
Yeah.
I have a large account, not as large as how many followers do you have on Instagram now?
1.92 million or something like
Two
that.
million. Okay, and so wow, that's just unbelievable. Are you still growing right now? Or are you idle or
Uh, well, with the change of things, it tends to just go like this, where you look over 3 months and you're basically flat at zero. And that
flat?
seems to be a lot of people. And
Yep,
I mean, as they stated, followers don't seem to matter anymore.
they don't.
It's content.
It's insights.
Yep.
It's yep. I get it, man. But here's the thing: I've lost followers lately, but I'm not upset about it because my engagement rate's going up.
Yeah. That's all that matters,
So
really.
it's better. It's actually better for it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, hilarious. So, what does okay? So you have an acronym.
Yeah.
This F It Friday is an acronym.
When I was coming up with a name for this segment, I was like, I want it to be creative, but also catchy on so many levels. And growing up in construction, you always hear about people saying, "Oh, fuck it, it's Friday." So, and especially in marine construction, because details don't matter. And when I drew out the FUKIT, I wanted to make it, and so I came up with featured unknown knowledge in tools. So, and I was like,
Okay.
okay, so bring it all around and make it something funny and silly.
Mhm.
And
Got it.
what I came
That's
up
what
with.
it stands for. Now I know. Now I know. I've watched so many of those, but it's so funny, Travis. So like I was saying, sometimes you got to hear it from an outside source, right? So I get people sending me your videos all the time because they think it's funny, or some of the deck ones you've done. I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh man. Anytime anything deck related comes out on the internet, I get 20 or 30 copies of it.
I can
No matter
imagine.
what. No matter what. The skeleton under the deck, I got that over 100 times.
Yeah.
You know, somebody buried a fake skeleton under a deck, and they said, "Oh, the next homeowners, whoever pulls this decking up, is gonna be freaked out when they see this skeleton." You know,
Yep.
and the first time I saw it, yeah, it was kind of funny, and then the next 99 times, like, oh yeah, haha, got it. I don't want to be rude to people that take the time, because people are actually taking time out of their day to share this information with you, and they think that it's special, and they want it to be special for you too. But you can't.
Yeah. It does get tough when you get the same thing 100+ times from people. And I've made it a point, even up to this point in my social media world, to respond to every single Instagram message that comes in and try to help people in that personally. I don't use AI. I don't do any of that. And it takes a lot of time anymore. And
Yeah.
it's also, I've helped so many people make informed decisions or this and that for products and tools. But what's also been great with this Good Friday segment, I was spending hours finding clips or things and
Yeah.
downloading and asking for permission and that. And then people started sending me a few. I'm like, well, that's actually great. And now anymore, like, I've got more than I can get worldwide from people sending me videos. And some
Perfect.
of them, they're doing their own voiceovers. My dad, it's Good Friday and this, and it's hilarious. And I love it to the nth degree. And I
Oh
know
my
everyone
goodness.
that's made it to this point in the podcast, I haven't made a It Friday in quite a while, a new one. It takes 5 to 6 hours for me to make one, and I've divested the time to some what I felt a little more important. But I will be making fresh new ones here coming up,
Cool.
because I get emails, I get messages every day, and it's just people want more of it.
Okay. Good to hear. Good to know. I got to get to one more thing though before we bounce. Okay. When did Liv come into the picture?
About 4 years ago now. So.
Well, I remember meeting her at the DeWalt event. That was in 2020.
Yeah, that was pretty
early.
Pretty early in us. I invited her to that event. Yeah.
She wasn't She Tools by the design by then.
No, that was kind of my idea to get her involved and create a page for her to do stuff. I mean, I'm getting the latest and greatest in tools, and we're doing projects. I'm like, well, this could be great. And like, yeah.
And something else you guys like to do together is you'll pick up like these antiques, and you'll find some kind of antique can opener or dresser or whatever. And I don't think a lot of people appreciate the quality or the nature of what you're finding, these finds. Sometimes you got to explain it to a lot of people don't understand. Oh, this is a classic table from the 1920s, and it's probably has high value, but nobody would even know because it just looks like an old table, right?
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool that you guys have these little rendezvous where you go around and find all these, be it a flea market, a garage sale, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think it's wonderful that she's on the internet. Kiki had a cool page for a while, and then the haters got to her, unfortunately, and she just shut it all down. So I hope that doesn't happen to Liv. What's that?
The negativity anymore is brutal, but it's just the way people are. But yeah, we do a lot of estate selling and try to find those just really cool, unique, well-built things. Maybe when I learn about it, I will share it through my page or content and try to clean it up real simple. And I think we're going to be showing more of that going forward. I'm doing the Throwback Thursday Tool Edition, or like Tool Time Throwback type of thing on old tools that I'm buying and finding unique stuff, giving them a quick clean and then using them. And I think it's a good callback. And there's so many people throwing away high quality items that they don't repurpose, or selling them super cheap on Facebook Marketplace, where you'd spend way more going into any store, even IKEA now, to buy these things when you can get a solid piece of wood furniture and just maybe clean it up a little bit of elbow grease. But I guess not as many people anymore know what way to twist their elbow to make something look nice. So I think that's where we come in, us in the trades and people that have some knowledge of sharing. So.
Cool. Heck yeah, Travis Collins from Tools by Design. Thank you so much for being on our podcast. I wish we had more time, but that's all you get from there. If you want to hear more from Travis, you got to go over to our Patreon channel, click that subscribe button. It's only $5 a month, guys. You know what to do. Calvin, hit it. Hit that music. And thank you so much, Travis. How do we get a hold of you if somebody wants to talk to you? Just Tools by Design?
Tools by Design on any social platform. If you really want me to respond, Instagram is going to be the best for messaging.
Excellent. Same here. All right, Travis, thanks for being on, man. We really appreciate you. All right, guys, have a great day. Over and out.